rivalidade, história, paixão, orgulho. Esta série explora os confrontos mais amargos do futebol. Este é o Rivalidades. Na sequência, vamos analisar a disputa entre Ajax e Feyenoord, na Holanda, os artistas de Amsterdã e os trabalhadores de Rotterdam.
The rival between Feyenoord and Ajax is amazing.
And Ajax Feyenoord and Feyenoord Ajax something special, and it's a motivation for every player to be part of it.
Normally the people are pretty laid back in Holland, you know, very down to earth. But with this match it's just something different. The people talk about it the whole week, they make fun on their work, at home, jokes, you know. The match is sold out, of course, already for weeks.
Feyenoord is a religion, really. It's every time when you're going out bed, you think about Feyenoord. It's maybe your wife, your second wife, your second home.
Feyenoord-Ajax blijft de wedstrijd van het jaar. Dat is net zo met Celtic en Glasgow Rangers. Dat is de wedstrijd.
Durante esses dias na Holanda, a paixão pelo jogo que chamamos de Der Klassieker pode se transformar num caos. Um triunfo logístico para a polícia holandesa nessa ocasião significa conseguir separar os baderneiros dos torcedores que desejam se concentrar na partida. E só assim eles poderiam assistir em paz o jogo do ano da Amsterdam Arena, Ajax e Feyenoord, o clássico.
It's always a little bit of war between the two clubs.
This is Amsterdam, you're in our place.
I think that the supporters from Feyenoord and Ajax only look at these two games.
Two big cities, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, so they are always in competition with this kind of games.
This mean to me. You know what I mean now? And this is to me my city.
Muitas emoções rodeiam esse confronto. Grande parte da juventude da Holanda é devota do amor a um clube, da arte de denegrir o rival. Por que a paixão? Por que tanta antipatia? Tudo se resume a duas cidades holandesas, Rotterdam e Amsterdã, mais famosa por sua diversidade e tolerância do que por qualquer tipo de vandalismo no futebol.
Amsterdam is the capital of Holland. I think some people in Rotterdam and maybe other people in the country too think that people from Amsterdam are a bit superior. They want to be superior. They have a big mouth. They think that if you come from Amsterdam, you're the boss in Holland.
Dá para ver pelos cartões postais, mas a cidade é muito mais que canarias. É lar também de outra instituição famosa de Amsterdã, Total Football. Esse é o Mer, estádio que os famosos times do Ajax jogaram. Johan Cruyff viveu do outro lado da estrada. Aqui alguns dos nomes famosos do Ajax, como Marco van Basten, Edgar Davids, Ronald Koeman, começaram suas carreiras. E também um jovem meio-campista chamado Frank Rijkaard.
Rijkaard steeds meer voorin. Prima schot en wat een mooie goal, zeg. Oh!
Yeah, it left a wonderful impression. I think it was a wonderful moment, but getting to know really important football players with a lot of quality, that's like an inspiration.
The biggest pride probably which you felt inside is when you're very young. You grew up at the street playing the game all the time, and probably the first time I've played in the Ajax Stadium. I don't remember even the game, but just going out there and play your first game, I think that's the most satisfactory you can ever can imagine.
Johan Cruyff era a maior estrela daquela geração que colocou o futebol holandês no mapa da década de 70. O sucesso dos dois clubes na época deu o pontapé inicial para a rivalidade.
I think the rivalry became particularly strong, let's say beginning in the 70s. Because at that time, arguably, you had the best two teams in the world. Feyenoord was world champion in '71, the first Dutch team ever, first to win the European Cup and then become world champion. And Ajax, of course, did it Feyenoord in 1970 and Ajax in 3 consecutive years after that. You know, you had these players, Cruyff and Neeskens and Blankenburg and Krol. They all had long hair. You know, they had the rebel look. You know, as if rock and roll had gone onto the pitch.
Ajax always had the special players who drew the attention of from all over the world, and it was flashy. It was maybe a little bit more like glamour, and it was something different.
Os dois times daquela época trouxeram um novo termo ao dicionário do futebol: Total Football, um sistema flexível de jogo desenvolvido em Amsterdã, onde os atletas não tinham posição fixa em campo. Com isso, o Ajax se tornou invejado por toda a Europa. Johnny Rep era uma das estrelas da Holanda e do Ajax.
80. Dat was gewoon een wereldelftal. Net zoals het elftal in 74. Dat kan je niet vergelijken met nu.
Não está nem a 100 quilômetros de Amsterdã, mas também pode ser um mundo à parte. A cidade foi fortemente bombardeada na Segunda Guerra Mundial e os moradores reconstruíram-na. As pessoas daqui têm um ditado que aumenta ainda mais a rivalidade. Enquanto Amsterdã sonha, Roterdã trabalha. Mais do que qualquer outra coisa, Feyenoord e Ajax é uma rivalidade entre cidades.
The capital. Rotterdam is the harbor, one of the biggest harbor. And I think that's the main thing. Amsterdam a little bit, they think we are the best, we are this. In Rotterdam we have to do it from the workers, tough guys, and that's the first difference between those clubs.
They're always competing. When they're building a new stadium, Rotterdam must have a bigger stadium. Always competing against each other.
It's more the cultural city. Here are the artists, the actors. That's where the people in Amsterdam, they live here. And in Amsterdam is more artistic. So the players from Amsterdam, from Ajax, they play like artists. That's a big difference.
The people from Rotterdam think the people from Amsterdam are arrogant. Everything is bigger, everything is better. They think. And we think the other side. Rotterdam, the people from Rotterdam are better, are not so arrogant, always giving a hand to each other. But in Amsterdam, they're always alone. They are arrogant people.
O distrito de Feyenoord fica próximo de Roterdã e do Kuip Stadium. Por aqui a tensão está aumentando. É manhã de quinta-feira da semana do Clássico e o maior jogo do ano está se aproximando. O herói do Feyenoord, Ben Tuckers, sabe tudo sobre o Der Klassiker.
It's very special. Every game is a good game, is a special game. But those games we play in Amsterdam or here in our own stadium, then it's so strange. Before the games, the whole week, the newspapers, the media is talking about the game. It's something special, so special because we want to say something about Amsterdam, they want to say about us, and so on. It goes on in the newspaper before the games.
Fanático pelo Feyenoord desde criança, Wim Stuckers já jogou mais de 350 jogos pelo clube. Ele foi o capitão do time da seleção da Holanda, um gigante na zaga do time de Rotterdam, um herói do Feyenoord.
Tot een hoekschop is geraakt. Brandsman in de lucht. Wijnstekers knalt goed. Ja, een doelpunt. Een schitterende goal. Een schitterende goal van Benny Wijnstekers.
Parte do time de 1970 que venceu a Copa Europeia para o Feyenoord, o primeiro time da Holanda a conquistar o título. Hoje em dia ele trabalha para o clube promovendo a juventude em seu próprio programa de assistência social. Se alguém tem sangue vermelho e branco, esse alguém é Benny.
My father was a real Feyenoord supporter. Yeah, he took me away, take me with to the club, to the stadium. Then you're thinking Feyenoord, you're thinking Rotterdam. So there's a start. After when you playing by yourself in the first team, then it's something difficult because when we play out, not only the derbies when you play out, you see the crowd is so fantastic. Feyenoord is the best crowd of, I think, perhaps for all Europe, I think. But normally, when you're playing here in the stadium, I think we play with 30 men because they are so important. For 12 men, they're so important for us.
Eles chamam a torcida do Feyenoord de a multidão. Uma torcida apaixonada que conta com pessoas como Joop Verschuren.
When you are a Feyenoord supporter, you cannot be a Feyenoord supporter when you are 20. You be born with the heart of Feyenoord. You have in your veins you have red and white blood. When you see the games here, we are not playing very well now. We have a bad team. It's not so good. But every time there are sitting here 30, 40,000 people. When you do the same in Amsterdam, you're playing not bad as Amsterdam's team. Then you not got so many people, maybe 15,000. Wrong or bad, always stands behind your club.
The Amsterdam crowd is more, yeah, okay, work hard, that's normal, but show something extra, show something different.
Do outro lado da Holanda, o Ajax também está se preparando para o confronto. A lenda Edgar Davids estava de volta ao time e de olho em uma boa participação no seu jogo de estreia contra o Feyenoord. Faltando apenas 2 dias para a partida, as expectativas estavam a 1000 entre os torcedores e a imprensa de Amsterdã.
Lots of cameras today because well, we have the big clash, Ajax Feyenoord, and well, they come all from all over Holland now. Normally we have 3-4 camera teams, but now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7.
Wat is zijn status nu? Wat is zijn kun je uitleggen wat de stand van zaken is? Ja.
Após a coletiva de imprensa na sala de edição da Ajax TV, parece que o bom senso jornalístico se perdeu.
The Ajax fans don't want to talk about Feyenoord. They say F for Feyenoord. They never say Feyenoord. They always say F or the kakkerlakken. The kakkerlakken is cockroaches. So they talk about kakkerlakken or F, but never the whole word Feyenoord. And on the other side, the Feyenoord fans always say Neuzen, the noses, because the Jews, and Ajax is still a Jewish club, have noses, they have big noses, like me.
Assim como o Feyenoord, a torcida nunca vai encarar o clássico com tranquilidade. Conforme o dia do jogo se aproxima, ela está desesperada pela vitória e talvez um pouco certa de sua superioridade.
Win, it's always party. And then I don't know until what hour, you know, depends on how big the party will be. If we lose, it will be not that big of a problem if you look at the ranking, but I will be sick to the bone, actually, yeah. But there will be no sickness because we will win, I'm certain.
Apesar de tudo, o Ajax se considera o melhor. O povo de Rotterdam pode dizer que é arrogante, mas os livros de história vão mostrar os torcedores do Ajax se gabando.
If you look back into history, Ajax much better history in the Feyenoord. They won more cups, European cups 4 times. Feyenoord only one. They won the World Cup once, Feyenoord once. Okay, so that's equal. But championships, the last years, Ajax was much more champion than Feyenoord. If you compare the wins overall, Ajax won with 8-2 in 1983. Ajax won with 6-0, Ajax won with 5-0, Ajax won this season with 4-0. They're getting close to each other, but still Ajax is better than Feyenoord.
Um homem que vivenciou uma vitória expressiva em cima do inimigo é Jacques Schuart. Ele mantém o recorde de participações pelo clube. O homem que ainda é chamado de Mr. Ajax.
I play for Ajax 70 years in the first team. The most games, 603, I think. And I score 228 goals. And that's a lot for outside right. Mr. Ajax. That's good.
Mr. Ajax disputou 36 clássicos e marcou 19 gols, mas nenhum tão importante como em uma famosa partida há 50 anos.
In 1960, both were on the top, the same points, and we must make an extra game. And that was in Amsterdam, and we win 5-1. I never forget it.
What happened?
At halftime, yes, at halftime was 1-0 for Feyenoord.
Ja.
In the second half we scored 5 goals.
Dan heeft Bijenberg de bal. En dan gaat Henk Groot. Dat is een prachtig doelpunt van Henk Groot.
And I myself, I scored a third goal.
Sjaak Zwart.
And it was the decision. 3-1 and then it was over with Feyenoord.
Dan nog steeds Zwart. Dan gaat Zwart.
And at the same time, I learned my wife. And now I'm 45 years married with the same.
E mais bons momentos estavam por vir para o Ajax.
Then we win 3 times the European Cup, 1971, 1972, 1973. And that's the team with Cruyff, Keizer, Neeskens, Hulshoff, Zuurweer. It was fantastic. It was, Cruyff was, I think, the best in the world. And, but all the players in that team were on that place, what they play, fantastic.
Quando Swart se aposentou aos 36 anos, outra estrela estava se destacando no time do Ajax. Johnny Rapp, que levou o Ajax ao 3º título da Copa Europeia.
Dat was voor mij natuurlijk wel een hoogtepunt. Terwijl die wedstrijd voor het publiek niet zo'n spannende wedstrijd was. Het was eigenlijk een hele slechte finale van de Europa Cup. Maar ja, voor mij was hij belangrijk. Ik had de enige doelpunt gemaakt.
E além de tudo que ganhou ao lado do Ajax, Johnny Rapp teve a honra de jogar com um dos maiores jogadores que o mundo já viu.
Nou, het was heel mooi om met Johan Cruyff te voetballen. Ik heb heel veel van hem geleerd. Maar wij voelden elkaar perfect aan. Hij mij, zowel ik hem. Wij waren eigenlijk een heel goed duo in het veld. Mooie tijd. Wereldvoetballer, Johan Cruyff. Veel van geleerd. Hij van mij ook.
Rapp teve ótimos momentos com o Ajax, mas 9 anos após deixar a Holanda para jogar no Valência, ele fez o que ninguém esperava e assinou com seu antigo rival, o Feyenoord.
Dat was niet makkelijk. Ik werd toch als een beetje ziet gezien door het publiek. En ik heb daar niet mijn leukste tijd gehad als voetballer, moet ik eerlijk zeggen. Feyenoord is een fantastische club. Maar ik werd daar gewoon nog als een Ajaxiet gezien. En ik heb daar ook niet echt mijn beste tijd van mijn carrière meegemaakt. Moet ik eerlijk zijn. Maar ze zagen mij echt als een Ajaxiet nog steeds.
Ajax players shouldn't play in Rotterdam. Feyenoord players shouldn't play in Amsterdam. It's not a happy marriage.
Mas Rapp não foi a única estrela do Ajax a se juntar ao inimigo. Seu antigo companheiro de equipe, Johan Cruyff, fez a mesma coisa.
If you look at the players that went from Ajax to Feyenoord or from Feyenoord to Ajax, Johan Cruyff went to Feyenoord, for example, just to take revenge on the Ajax board. He then became champion with Feyenoord, which was very bad. But on the other hand, he lost here the classic game, Ajax and Feyenoord, in the Olympic Stadium, with 8-2. So that, for me, that was one of the bigger classic games in the history.
Tegen Dutop. Olsen. Niet buitenspel, nee, want Wijnstekers blijft hangen. Dan is daar Boeven. En die scoort weer. Jongen, dat is al 3-0. En we zijn er 23 minuten bezig.
That year we were champions. And I think Johan Cruyff was playing with us.
Voor Molenaar. En die mag er niet eens aankoppen. Wat is deze wedstrijd merkwaardig.
Nobody was disappointed because we were champions. Because we have a lot of punch more than Ajax. Dus everybody laughs about it.
Van Basten. Alles winnen ze nu natuurlijk. Ja, ook zo'n goal nog. Ja hoor, ook dat nog. 8-2, Marco van Basten.
At home we beat them with 4-1 and that year we were champion and that was 83-84. It was a very special year.
Com apenas 2 títulos holandeses desde 84, os Rotterdammers estiveram sempre à sombra de Amsterdã.
We don't like that Ajax have more success normally than Feyenoord, especially the last years. Okay, the public is still coming. It's the only thing how we can, how we are together.
Enquanto alguns torcedores do Feyenoord podem aceitar a decepção, mas um deles acha que as coisas já passaram dos limites. Jos de Putter é torcedor do Feyenoord desde pequeno.
At some point, you know, I don't know what it is. It's the age, you know, that you think, why am I bothering with this? You know, all of a sudden, you know, of course, it's a long history of suffering, mainly, you know, as a Feyenoord fan. You suffer because they're no good. You know, all the decisions are in favor of Ajax when it really counts. Feyenoord themselves, it's terrible, you know. It's been terrible for a long time, the way the club is run. It's difficult, you know. I never smoked, but I imagine it's like, you know, quitting the smoking. I stuck for such a long time, probably because Ajax in a way represents a lot of what I don't like in Dutch culture. You know, it's this idea that we know best.
Quase 2.000 torcedores do Feyenoord foram até Amsterdã.
First there's a rivalry, then times get tougher. You know, the 80s were different. You know, young people are unemployed, they have no future. You know, the no future generation. You see this connected with real difficulties in life.
Os fanáticos nunca se misturariam à torcida do Feyenoord, que entram no Amsterdã Arena através de um túnel direto da plataforma de trem. O Feyenoord sempre teve problemas com os hooligans ao longo dos anos, para o desgosto dos seus verdadeiros torcedores.
Have a little supporters group that is not going for the play, but is going to a city to give the club a bad night.
E com o passar do tempo, o problema ficou ainda maior entre as torcidas de Ajax e Feyenoord.
Alleen het is steeds grimmiger geworden of extremer. Vroeger was het nog iets minder, maar tegenwoordig is het niet leuk meer. Er gebeuren te veel dingen waar eigenlijk de supporters echt niet mee te maken willen hebben.
Com sorte, a polícia controlou a situação. E a minoria violenta não poderia atrapalhar mais de 50.000 pessoas que vieram à Amsterdã Arena para ver o Der Klassiker.
We are just going the other way around to arrive to the places and go not into the crowdy place. It's not safe.
Foi uma partida que até mesmo algumas das maiores estrelas do Ajax, como Johnny Rapp, ficariam empolgadas. Uma Amsterdã Arena lotada esperava por outro confronto entre Ajax e Feyenoord.
Het was een wedstrijd die dus in het begin 2 kanten op kon. Want Feyenoord was in het begin de gevaarlijkste ploeg. Charisteas die schiet in het begin van de wedstrijd 1 keer op de paal. Dus als het 1-0 voor Feyenoord wordt, dan wordt het toch een heel andere wedstrijd.
Infelizmente para a torcida de Rotterdam, a chance havia sido perdida. E foi o Ajax que abriu uma vantagem crucial através de Wesley Sneijder.
En toen werd het 2-0 en toen werd het 3-0. Ja, toen was eigenlijk de spanning van de wedstrijd af. Maar gelukkig maakt Charisteas 3-1. 10 minuten voor rust. Toen bleef het toch nog een beetje een wedstrijd.
Mas os 3 gols de Wesley Sneijder na partida acabaram com qualquer esperança do time visitante. 4-1 para o Ajax, enquanto Amsterdã celebrava, Rotterdam se preparava para um futuro nada promissor.
People ring the supporters club and they ask to me and I take the phone and then I'm Amsterdam, I come from Ajax and you are losers and that and that. But it's the other side around, I never heard them. When we lose, I'm not eating anything, and I don't look football on the telly. That's very disappointing. Only by Ajax, not with other club, only Ajax.
Só deu Ajax nessa partida. Sem dúvida eles vão curtir a festa, mas a rivalidade entre o clube de Amsterdã e o de Rotterdam vai durar muito tempo.
The greatest victory, yeah, every time we win. Make no difference. 1-0, 2-0. When we win, then I'm going home, and I'm always cheered, and I'm eating good.
It's always a fact that these matches are special. And of course there's rivalry. Then again, Ajax cannot do without Feyenoord, and Feyenoord cannot do without Ajax. They need each other to have this classical match. So there's rivalry, but then again, most people know you need each other as well.